Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm Rory McLennan coming to you from Glasgow, Scotland. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. The Catholic bishops of Canada have penned a letter to the Holy Father Pope Francis to thank him for his apostolic visit to the nation in July. The bishops are gathered in Cornwall in Ontario for their plenary assembly this week. In the letter, which was released on Monday, the prelates said the Pope's penitential pilgrimage has left a profound and lasting mark on the country, its indigenous peoples, and the local and universal church. In the letter they said, "As the successor of Peter and Vicar of Christ, your presence among us, as well as your words of healing, reconciliation and humanity, have helped us all to take significant steps forward." The Canadian bishops also said the visit has strengthened their resolve to spare no effort to foster their ties with the Indigenous peoples of Canada. In the United States, as many as 22 members of Congress have sought an explanation from the Department of Justice for the arrest of a Catholic pro-life activist in front of his wife and children in Pennsylvania last week. Armed FBI agents stormed the house of Mark Haug and arrested him for violating the Freedom of Access to Clinics Entrances Act. Members of Congress have sought an explanation by September the 30th regarding the excessive use of force in the case. They also want an explanation as to why federal law enforcement was used against a citizen in what should be a state matter. In a similar move, Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri sent a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland seeking an explanation as to why a local dispute was turned into a national case. He also flayed the FBI for executing the search warrant in an extreme manner. In Ukraine, Christian, Jewish and Muslim leaders have demanded the safe return of prisoners of war and civilian hostages held in Russia. The demand was made by the All-Ukrainian Council of Churches and Religious Organizations. The council, which also comprises the Byzantine and Latin Rite bishops of the country, issued a statement on September the 23rd. This came after 215 prisoners of war were released in exchange for Viktor Medvedchuk, a former Ukrainian lawmaker, and 54 others. According to the statement by the council, thousands of Ukrainian troops and civilians are held hostage by Russians. There are allegations that Russia does not follow the international protocols when it comes to treating hostages or prisoners. In most cases, Moscow does not provide any information about their fate. There are also allegations that Ukrainian prisoners are subjected to brutal torture. In the US state of Florida, the Bishop of St Petersburg diocese has asked believers to pray for protection from harm in the impending hurricane. Bishop Gregory Parks of St Petersburg sent a message to every parish and posted a prayer written by himself on the Facebook page and YouTube channel of the diocese. Florida is bracing for the impact of Hurricane Ian, which is expected to pound the Gulf Coast of the state after wreaking havoc in neighbouring Cuba. On Tuesday afternoon, it made landfall in western Cuba, uprooting power lines and leaving the country in darkness. Winds churned up by the hurricane extend 40 miles from its centre, and tropical storm force winds extend 140 miles out. Weather forecasters have given warnings for the entire Gulf Coast. Catholics and pro-life champions in the American state of Michigan are gearing up to oppose the bid to expand abortion. Proposal 3, which will be put to a vote on November the 3rd, enshrines the right to reproductive freedom as a fundamental right. It says that the state may regulate the provision of abortion care after fetal viability, provided that in no circumstance shall the state prohibit an abortion that is medically indicated to protect the life of the mother. The Michigan Catholic Conference has said that the amendment takes the state far beyond what was allowed for abortion under Roe v. Wade. It alleges that the proposed amendment would do away with all protections, making abortion unrestricted and unregulated. It is also alleged that the amendment would allow abortion all through the 9 months of pregnancy. In Nigeria, the president of the largest Christian outfit in the country has urged all citizens to vote for leaders who are sincere so that they will promote economic growth. This appeal was made by the Most Reverend Daniel Oko during the interdenominational church service at the National Christian Centre in the capital city Abuja. Reverend Oko exhorted Nigerians not to indulge in acts that destroy the fortunes of the nation. He said the nation is still battling with many issues and added that citizens should not be provoked into anger. The cleric said that everyone should stand up against injustice and work towards peace in a constructive way. He added that church leaders, politicians, security agents and diplomats should resolve that this battle against the powers of darkness must be won. The International Catholic Migration Commission has stressed that the global community can no longer stand by as disinterested bystanders as Nigerians lose lives and property. The ICMC raised its concern at the 51st meeting of the United Nations Human Rights Council on September the 26th. They also issued a statement highlighting the plight of Nigerians, with it being co-signed by Caritas Internationalis, Caritas Nigeria and the World Evangelical Alliance, among others. The Commission and other organisations also echoed the appeal of the Catholic prelates of the West African nation to civil authorities to protect the lives and properties of citizens. The statement concluded by recalling the root causes of violence and appealed to the Nigerian government to protect all people. A Spanish archbishop has said that clergy and religious should take the revolutionary step of appearing in public in clerical garb and religious habits. Archbishop Luis Arguello of Valladolid said it is necessary to take the revolutionary step in these times to make the supernatural present in the streets by wearing the clothing appropriate to consecrated religious or ordained men. He made this reflection during a diaconal ordination homily. He said, "A diaconal stole and a dalmatic will be placed on your alb, and you can also wear clerical dress. You can wear a symbol so that it can be seen in the public square that you are men consecrated to God." Archbishop Arguello reiterated that the revolutionary step of wearing clericals or habits, saying the divine office and being celibate is needed in these times. In Colombia, the Catholic chapel that was closed in El Dorado International Airport near the capital city Bogotá will be reopened for worship. Bishop Juan Vicente Córdoba of Fontibón announced on September the 22nd that an agreement was reached between church authorities and the administrators of the air terminal. It was on August the 26th that the management firm that operates the airport announced that the chapel would be converted into a hall of worship for all religions. This move was vehemently opposed by the church, politicians and civic leaders. The agreement was reached after a meeting was held between the president of the board of directors of Opaín, Bishop Córdoba, and the president of the Colombian Bishops' Conference, Archbishop Luis José Rueda of Bogotá. Now, all liturgical furnishings and symbols that were removed from the chapel will be restored. As protests rage across Iran following the death in custody of a young girl over the wearing of the hijab, Christians have demanded freedom and equal rights. Believers in the Muslim-majority country have released a statement in which they said that the compulsory use of the headscarf should be banned, as well as other discriminatory rules. The statement reads, "We remind all our Christian compatriots that we must be together with those who have no voice and the oppressed, defending their rights as the Bible teaches." The protests are marked by the burning of hijabs across towns and cities across the country. It was on September the 13th that 22-year-old Masa Amini was arrested by morality police for improperly wearing the hijab. She was allegedly tortured in detention, following which she slipped into a coma and died 3 days later. Her death sparked a wave of protests, which is still going on. In Muslim-majority Pakistan, leaders of the Catholic community are demanding police reforms and a law that criminalises police brutality. This demand came after the death of a 52-year-old Catholic in police custody on September the 17th. Bashir Masi, a rickshaw driver, died in custody after he was arrested on charges of theft. According to the Human Rights Commission of Pakistan, Masi is the 17th Christian believer to die in police custody since 2010. The Deputy Director of the Catholic Bishops' National Commission for Justice and Peace, Kashif Aslam, said reforms are needed for modern and scientific means of investigation. Rights outfits accuse police of torture, including beatings with batons and leather straps, crushing legs with metal rods, and sleep deprivation. Aslam also urged the Senate Standing Committee to expedite the passage of the bill that makes torture a criminal offence. The government of Algeria in North Africa has ordered the closure of the local arm of Catholic aid outfit Caritas Internationalis with effect from October the 1st. The complete and definitive closure was announced by the Archdiocese of Algiers in a communiqué signed by Archbishop Emeritus Paul Desfarges, President of the Algerian Diocesan Association. He says that although the Church is closing all charitable activities of Caritas Algeria, it remains true to its philanthropic mission at the service of brotherhood. The decision to close down Caritas Algeria was taken by the authorities without stating any justification to the bishops of the nation, where Islam is the dominant religion. Apparently, an Interior Ministry communication hinted that the church was covering an unauthorised outfit engaged in illegal activities. However, they are yet to reveal what statutes were violated by these so-called illegal activities of the organisation. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us again tomorrow for more. And remember, you can also visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.